Every town has its urban legends, and ours was no different. For as long as I could remember, there was a story about a clown who roamed the outskirts of town. People said he only appeared on foggy nights, his painted face emerging from the mist, grinning in a way that sent chills down your spine. The adults always dismissed it as nonsense, but among the kids, the tale of the clown was a source of both fear and fascination. One evening, when the fog rolled in thick and heavy, my friends and I decided to test our courage. We were bored and looking for a thrill, and what better way to prove our bravery than to seek out the clown? Armed with flashlights and more bravado than sense, we made our way to the edge of town, where the old carnival grounds lay abandoned and overgrown. The carnival had closed down years ago, its rides rusting and its tents torn. It was the perfect setting for a ghost story, and as we approached, the fog seemed to swallow us whole, muffling our footsteps and making the world feel smaller and more confined. "Do you think we'll really see him?" asked Mark, the youngest of our group, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and excitement. "Probably not," I said, trying to sound confident. "It's just a story." But as we ventured deeper into the carnival grounds, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The fog pressed in around us, and strange shapes loomed out of the darkness, only to reveal themselves as twisted metal and tattered fabric. We reached the old funhouse, its entrance a gaping maw of darkness. The door creaked open with a sound that made us all jump, and we hesitated, looking at one another for reassurance. Finally, I took a deep breath and stepped inside, the others following close behind. The funhouse was a maze of narrow corridors and distorted mirrors, our flashlights casting eerie reflections that danced and flickered. The air was cold and damp, and the silence was broken only by our ragged breathing and the occasional creak of the floorboards. As we turned a corner, we heard it, a soft, high-pitched giggle that sent shivers down our spines. We froze, our flashlights flickering wildly as we scanned the darkness for the source of the sound. "There!" whispered Sarah, pointing to a figure at the end of the hall. The figure was dressed in a tattered clown costume, its face painted with grotesque makeup. The clown's eyes were wide and staring, its mouth twisted into a grin that was more menacing than joyful. It stood perfectly still, watching us with an intensity that made my blood run cold. "Hello, children," the clown said, its voice a raspy whisper that echoed through the funhouse. "Are you here to play?" We didn't answer. We couldn't. Fear had stolen our voices, and we stood rooted to the spot, unable to tear our eyes away from the clown. "Come closer," the clown beckoned, its grin widening. "I have something to show you." Against my better judgment, I took a step forward, the others following reluctantly. As we approached, the clown reached into its pocket and pulled out a small red ball. With a flick of its wrist, the ball began to float in the air, spinning and twirling as if by magic. We watched, mesmerized, as the ball danced in the air. But then, without warning, it shot towards us, hitting Mark square in the chest. He yelped in surprise, stumbling backwards, and the spell was broken. "Run!" I shouted, grabbing Sarah's hand and pulling her towards the exit. We fled through the maze of corridors, the clown's laughter echoing behind us. The funhouse seemed to stretch on forever, the hallways twisting and turning in a never-ending labyrinth. Panic set in as we struggled to find our way out, our flashlights flickering and dying one by one. Finally, we burst through the exit, gasping for breath and hearts pounding. The fog had thickened, and we could barely see a few feet in front of us. But we didn't stop running until we were back in the safety of our neighborhood, the comforting glow of streetlights and the distant hum of traffic surrounding us. We never spoke about that night again. The legend of the clown remained just that, a legend. But deep down, we all knew the truth. The clown was real, and it was still out there, lurking in the fog, waiting for the next group of curious kids to wander into its lair. And sometimes, on foggy nights, when the world seems to close in around me, I swear I can still hear its laughter, echoing through the darkness, a haunting reminder of the night we faced the clown.